Hello, I'm Marina Kim and you are watching the news from Kazakhstan. The ex-president of Kyrgyzstan, Kurmanbek Bakiyev, has left Kazakhstan, reported on Monday Kazakh Foreign Ministry. Different sources reported about the readiness of Belarus to accept the exiled president. According to other unconfirmed information, the former head of the neighboring state flew to the Arab Emirates.
There is still no clear information in Kazakhstan on the whereabouts of the former president of Kyrgyzstan, Kurmanbek Bakiyev, after his plane landed in Taras on Friday. Over the weekend, the exiled president faxed his resignation to the interim government and then appeared on the Kazakh state TV channel, addressing Nursultan Nazarbayev.
You took great care of me as a true brother. I and the people of Kyrgyzstan will remember this. As for what happened and who's responsible for it, I think it's a question of history and we'll find out the answer soon. All those guilty must be punished, I fully understand it.
Meanwhile, Kazakh opposition expressed its concern over the presence of the banished Kyrgyz leader in their country, demanding the authorities not to turn Kazakhstan into the, quote, dictator's anonymous club.
A man with blood on his hands has no place in our country. We do not want Kazakhstan to become home for dictators from all over the world. Otherwise, why don't we invite over Mugabe, who kills Ethiopians? Kim Jong-il fights the dissent.
The foreign ministry reported on Monday that Kurmanbek Bakiyev has left Kazakhstan but never said where to.
Mr. Bakiyev has left Kazakhstan. We do not have information concerning his present whereabouts.
The OSCE mission representatives who visited Kyrgyzstan said there was no way back for Bakiyev, whose full safety was guaranteed only outside the country.
This was one of the conditions of international organization. It was a situation when Bakiyev nominally remained a president, but the interim government had the actual power. Of course, this didn't facilitate peace and stability.
Meanwhile, Almazbek Atambayev, the deputy head of Kyrgyzstan's interim government, arrived today to Astana to meet with Prime Minister Karim Masimov. Their agenda does not include questions concerning Bakiyev.
Meanwhile, protests continue in Kazakhstan. On April 19, the previously announced rally of the United Protest Groups was held in Almaty with the slogan "Defend your right to housing and work." Find out more from the next report.
Authorities that do not heed the voice of trouble will hear the thunder of storm.
On Monday, April 19th, about 200 residents of Almaty went on a rally to protect their rights for housing and work. The people are dissatisfied with the chosen course of the president and government. The protesters demanded to stop banks confiscating mortgage housing, demolition of squatters' houses, eviction of people, and also called for the creation of more job opportunities. The protest organizer, the movement Kazakhstan 2012, united 5 protest groups into a coalition. Representatives of each group voiced their concerns at the meeting.
There are crowds of unemployed people at bazaars who survive through random earnings. The authorities say that there's no unemployment, but actually bazaars are the showcase of unemployment, as people went there because of the lack of work. What will happen in 20 years?
Долженков issues new decrees every month. Sure, he gets paid for it. But why doesn't he check the implementation of his own decisions? We're ready to protest on the square and near the construction sites day and night. We have been driven to despair. The nearby law enforcement employees did not obstruct the protest and the rally ended without incidents and provocations, except for the random appearance of a pensioner who expressed her negative attitude towards the protesters. I heard these disgusting speeches and I do not want a repeat of Kyrgyzstan in Kazakhstan. The protest action was sanctioned by the city authorities and lasted for over an hour. A resolution was accepted at the end, including 23 demands and a promise to hold rallies in all regions of the country.
Another protest was held in Astana. Construction interest holders demand the government to cancel its April 1st decree, which bans the allocation of more than one apartment per proprietor, regardless of the number of paid-for but never built apartments.
Construction interest holders of Astana dissatisfied with the government's decision not to allow proprietors have more than one apartment. On Monday, they protested near the House of Ministers, while previously the matter was already expressed in the city's prosecutor's office. This time, special police forces were present at the government house just in case. The interest holders were met by the chief specialist of Prime Minister's office, Gapito Markhanov.
So in the end, you were left with no money or apartment. In this situation, it is important to understand that you invest into state or private developer. If it was a private developer who escaped with your money, then his property is under arrest and your investment is there. Unfortunately, if his property is estimated at 1 million, but there are 10 million worth of claims, 9 million will not be returned.
The interest holders blame the city authorities in manipulation. They said that it will be very difficult to prove the ownership of an apartment after the redistribution of housing. Owners of 2 or more apartments will have to go to law with their fellow victims' interest holders. At the same time, the official failed to clarify the exact procedures of the intricate redistribution of apartments. In the end, Gabit Omarkhanov suggested protesters to meet again later in calmer circumstances. Next time, interest holders will choose one representative who will continue talks with the Prime Minister's office.
In the meantime, residents of a local gardening community in Simei blocked an access to the city. 50 people demand to replace their chairman, as well as revise electricity and maintenance costs.
50 people blocked a road leading to Simei on Monday. Residents of the gardening community have no electricity for already 2 months. Now the protesters demand to change the leadership of the local cooperative and to revise the power rates.
We have no other choice but to block the road because we have already appealed to the city administration and all other authorities, but absolutely no one responded. They do not care what is going on here.
By blocking the road, residents hope to attract the attention of local authorities, but only police responded instead.
You're violating the law by blocking the road.
We will block the road. We will lie on the road. Officials explained their non-involvement, saying that it is now their job to delve into the situation.
According to cooperative charters and the law on consumer cooperatives, we as public servants and public authorities have no right to interfere in the internal affairs of cooperative communities. Our work is primarily consultative, supervisory and coordinating.
In the end, the residents of the gardening community have to leave without talking to officials. They, however, threatened to block the road again if the situation will not change. Next time, though, people want to stop the traffic for much longer.
While some citizens of the country have no money to pay for electricity, others acquire luxury housing in London, as reported by the Financial Times. In the last 3 months, the London luxury housing market saw as many deals as during the entire last year. Several key sales have already netted more than $380 million.
The sale of property in the trendy district of One Hyde Park was resumed on April 19th after trades were discontinued for a year due to economic downturn. One Hyde Park has already received fees for booking deals from Asian and Eurasian buyers, including one application from Kazakhstan. Foreign experts believe that buyers are attracted by the weakening of the pound and also see the link between the rise of oil prices and growing market demand for luxury housing.
Almaty is getting ready for the National Assembly, also known as Kurultai. The main purpose of the event is to develop international economic and cultural ties. This year, though, the assembly will be paid extra attention as last Kurultai in the neighboring Kyrgyzstan served as a detonator for the violent overthrow of the president.
Only 3 national assemblies or Kurultais were held in Kazakhstan since the breakup of the Soviet Union. For comparison, Kazakhs who live in Europe hold national assemblies annually.
This Kurultai is convened to raise current political and economic issues. The Assembly is not called to create a public organization or a party in the future. We hold it to unite Kazakhs. The ideas presented here will be later passed to all of our public organizations.
So far, analysts do not expect any serious progress from the upcoming Kurultai in Almaty.
Let's assume an anti-Nazarbayev revolution will take place. The problem is that the power is in the hands of different clans and they will not give it up easily, which would immediately lead to a split among Kazakh people. Kurultai is needed to prevent this and not let another rogue assume the power.
Originally, the National Assembly seemed to be the most reasonable mechanism representing all necessary initiatives and proposals, especially in critical situations when the ruling elite need to make some unprecedented steps.
This should be the matter of people's democracy. Kurultai should be called once in 1 or 2 years to raise important issues. Also, in the meantime, between Kurultai's activists who took part in them must continue their work with the population.
Currently, the existing Kazakh authorities bear official but not actual responsibility for everything that happens in the country. Thus, the country needs a body which formally does not depend on the president. In reality, though, this situation can never be achieved in the present conditions, and Kurultai will remain a fiction.